Welcome to episode 36 of the 200 movie challenge. That's 9 months worth of films that we've been watching. I mean, I know we've been doing this
Really?
all year, but we had to skip a few episodes. And Soto, the time is now. We've been
Yeah.
talking about this for the majority of the year. The fact we thought we were going to end on this film, but it became free, and we're like, fuck it, it's the season. We're doing this. And at least we're getting it over with. I don't know what our 200th film will be now. We'll discuss that when we cross that bridge. But so we're just going to jump right into it. Our 168th film of the year is Terrifier 3. Now, when we started this, you saw the first Terrifier last year when we kind of attempted things. And I'm like, well, let me see what this is all about. And we both were like,
Yeah.
well, now we have to do it. The following week, we're both like, all right, let's do Terrifier 2. And
hmm
we both agreed the first one. I mean, there's a very memorable kill, but the acting was horrible. But there was a little something there. It was not a bad start, but we knew this guy's, way of doing things. Blood and guts and very hard to watch kills. And then we saw Terrifier 2, and we're like, all right, they upped it. They got better acting. They got better, just everything looked a lot better. But then we had some questions. Because at least the first one, up until the end, felt like it could have just been some guy in a clown costume and just one scary night. And then this all got supernatural or religious, however you want to look at it. But either way, here we are, Terrifier 3, the Halloween
hmm
Christmas movie. Because I guess it can be either or, people say. So, Soto,
It's definitely a Christmas movie, but yeah.
I
Okay, I get
is
it.
it a Christmas movie? I mean, to me, just because it takes place at Christmas does not make it a Christmas movie. I'm sorry. That's not my
It's
definition.
fucking like the first scene is like a murder on Christmas.
Doesn't mean it's a Christmas movie. But yeah, it starts off shockingly because even though they don't show it, I mean, things that are usually taboo in a lot of horror franchises, he just chops up a kid, the little boy.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, you
wasn't.
see, you
I
see the
I,
after
I
effects.
was
You don't
not expecting that.
know.
Yeah, no, I didn't know where it was going, and I was like, please don't start this way. Like, just don't start in this general way because I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And thankfully it did not. But yeah, no, the standard was established in the beginning. I'm just like, oh god, this is from the very beginning. I'm just like, no, no,
Yeah,
I don't want to watch this. Like everything that was happening in the beginning, I was like, no, nope, nope. So go ahead, continue.
there's not much more to continue. It's where we go from here because I will say it started off with that, him just basically killing the
Yeah.
family, and obviously they didn't show what happened to the little girl, but we were going to assume what happened when he found her in the cupboards. Then it goes
Oh
back
yeah.
5 years to the way Terrifier 2 ended with, at the little insane asylum, and Chris Jericho gets his death scene, so, and then it
Face
jumps.
got ripped off.
Yeah, it did. A lot of face ripping off and a lot of other very interesting kills. And then it jumps back to present day, the 5 years with Sienna getting out of the mental hospital. But so then one of the problems I had, even though Terrifier 2 was definitely better than the first one, you know, like I
Yes,
said,
you
just
could tell that
production.
it just went up a level. Yeah, it
It
just
did go,
felt
it went
better.
up the level, but there was a lot of questions. Like they had that, like that child show dream, which made no sense to me. They brought up the father doing
Oh,
these
the Clown
drawings.
Cafe.
Yeah, the clown cafe. Thank you. Now I'm not going back to watch these. So if my brain's a little iffy on the first two Terrifiers, I'm sorry. The only thing that'll stick with me is one of the kills in the first Terrifier, and I know you know which one I'm talking about. Then they talk about how the father knew this and created the costume, knowing, and I'm like, why?
Yeah,
Why? And then they didn't
felt like
answer
that
it.
got dropped. Right,
It
that
did.
got dropped.
And I had a problem with that. I'm like, why? All right, now's the time to build the lore. And they kind
Yes.
of continued that in a way, but didn't fully answer it because he hands her the drawing, and then all of a sudden he starts shaking, and something demonic happens, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And he weren't. So I'm like, I guess I'm now to the point because I know we just had to talk about horror movie franchise. It's like, okay, the first one established itself. You can definitely feel like it kind of felt very indie, very like even the very first Texas Chainsaw, just like
Sure.
not much story, just but give me the lore, give me something, whether just that I'm on this ride. But I will tell you, Soto, and I know we text each other, like, this movie felt like there was no point. And
Uh,
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
story wise,
yeah.
I'm just talking about more story wise. You know, I obviously, because again, we talked about this family opening kill, but why? Why this family? Why, you know, because it's like, this brings in a little bit more religious aspects and like Sienna. I think that's her name, right? Sienna? Whatever.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Easy.
yes. And she, you know, just going after her and her family.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's just a lot of things, you know, just I wanted it to make sense. I'm like, no matter how absurd, you know, we've watched some crappy movies, Soto. I don't care. If you tell me that's the plot, we said if you're like, hey, these are my rules, this is the plot, just go with it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like I felt,
Yes.
I don't know, I just felt so out of place. It's like, okay, here's another brutal kill that I'm gonna have to turn away at some aspects. Oh, oh God, what are they doing with the rats? Okay, great, this is just great. I, I don't know. That's how I felt. So, what were that's what were your initial thoughts going? I know how much you loved, quote unquote, getting into this, but
Nah,
what are your overall thoughts before we kind of pick apart some
I
things?
really like. Okay, yeah, plot, sure. I felt like I was trying to survive this movie. Like I myself was trying to survive this movie. So, because I was so into just like, am I going to be able to stomach the bullshit that I'm seeing? Like, I never like thought about the plot. I mean, I really started hating Art the Clown and his little demon friends because I'm just like, you are the cause of me having to see these terrible things. Um, yeah, like, was I mad at the movie because there was no lore or plot? Like, I guess thinking back on it, like, that's a good point. That was kind of lost from whatever, and I don't know. I just was trying to just make it through because, and we texted about this too as well. I don't know who these movies are for. I have an idea of who these movies are for, and you
Yeah,
mentioned that they just try to keep going and raising the bar, and that like the fans of this franchise are like, oh, it's not fucked up enough, like it's got to go even like no, like do that shit on your own time. Like I mean, I just don't. I would have, if he had gone more towards the lore, he probably would have lost more of his like core audience because there's a huge following for these movies, or it's, I guess you could say it's a cult movie. I don't think this is a mainstream horror franchise, although I do say and I do think that it's iconic. I don't know who this movie is for. I had this one like fucking shithead coworker um that I worked with or worked around in a past life, who I guess in the store would play all three of these movies like simultaneously, like in the store. Uh and I had no concept of like what that meant. I just was like, oh, okay, it must be some sort of violent movie. But if I was the manager of that store at the time when this asshole was trying to do this, I would have been like, no, that does not fly here. Like people are trying to come in here like that's the kind of imagery is not what we should see. I'm not saying that I'm like, oh my god, a Puritan, this is way too violent, but I do not enjoy this amount of violence in the movies that I'm like ultra violence kind of shit. Like
yeah,
you talked about the first kill in the first movie where that woman gets bisected in half. That happens in this movie too, except with the guy. So now I'm watching a clown chainsaw a guy's dick off, like and bisecting him in the shower after chopping off his arms. And I get like the humor part of this, like, and that people watch this and it's kind of just funny because it's so absurdly over the top, but I find it to just be unenjoyable completely. I did not get, like, I dreaded every single moment that there was going to be a kill or everything like that because I knew that this director just has to keep going higher and higher, and fine, keep going. I'm not going to say stop going where you want to go, it's just not for me. And yeah, now I have to see Terrifier 4 because like I talked about a little before we got on, it ends in an open-ended way where it's like, okay. So it's like now the lore kind of is like, okay, well, will the lore come back into it? in Terrifier 4, but no, like you've told me that people think that Terrifier 3 wasn't even gory enough. Isn't that like what you heard?
I don't remember.
Which I don't know how you can. I don't know how you
I don't
can.
know.
I don't know how
I
fans
don't recall
think.
saying that, but if I did, then I don't know.
It's like it's like, oh, people want to go higher and higher. Like you just, where else can you go? You've already seen people's faces be mashed in. You've already seen people like fucking die in awful ways. I really don't know how else you can go. I will say that the funniest part about Art the Clown, and something that I really thought was funny, was that scene with fucking Ron Howard's brother. Of course, lands in this franchise somehow. Uh, like Art the Clown will just pull a gun out and shoot somebody.
Yep. That's what I loved in
And
the
there's
first film.
no, that's there. It's so fucking funny. Like, because no other horror movie icon that I could think of like just pulls out a gun. It's all like knives and terrible things, right? Or machetes and shit like that. But he'll just pull out a gun and shoot you, which I think is hilarious. Um, but I don't find watching these kinds of movies to be entertaining in that kind of ultra violent way at all. I find it to be just awful. Um, I think if I was watching this with like a group of people in a theater and it was like, maybe everybody's hooting and hollering about some of these, maybe it's more palatable, but just watching it like one on one and having that experience and watching it as a movie, it's like I found this to be just a chore to get through. And you're right, there's no story, so really you're just going from kill to kill, and they're just getting worse and worse, and then families are being like killed. And
Mutilated.
I mean, do I need to have a scene where like a demon bitch is fucking masturbating with a fucking butcher knife?
Yeah. So real quick with the gun thing, I
Do I
remember
need
saying
to watch that in a film? Like,
no. Oh, we did.
do I did I ask for this? Like I did.
I mean,
I can't
technically,
unsee it, but that happened. I watched it and I knew what was happening. And it's like, I'll let you get back to what you're gonna say, but it's so like edgy for like it's so obviously edgy. And I'm just like, I'm not here for it. I'm just not. I hate to sound like an old man, like whatever, like fine. I'm not ever gonna stop art from being art. Be art. Like do whatever you want, make it a crazy horror as much as you want, push the envelope, there's an audience for it. I'm not part of that audience. That's all I'm saying.
and again, going back to what we said with the first Terrifier, up until the very final scene, you remember, because he kind of got his head chopped off or something, and then like all the lights went off. The first one felt like, again, he was a real person. Like when we watched it,
He did.
so, but that was what they, and when he, and I remember saying this about the first Terrifier, about the gun, like when he was getting his ass beat by the girl, and he just said, fuck it. Like, I'm like, that is smart. You don't see that. And you're right. I laughed.
You never see that.
No, you don't. But now that he's become more this kind of born again, like his head was born, and that's, again, I don't even know. But to
My
my
God,
point,
that's right. Yeah.
so
Thank you.
it
Yeah.
ended in Terrifier 2 when it ended, which kind of started this film 5 years prior. Him and Vicky, the demon woman, whatever you want to call her, leave the
Mm-hmm.
psychiatric ward. They go to wherever their home is. And now it's 5 years later. So have they been frozen? This is my point. This is when I knew right away. I'm like, this plot doesn't make sense. And here we are again. I'm going to plot because you're watching Terrifiers for the kills. I'm sorry. That is, you said it. That's the fan.
That's
You're
it.
watching this for just being cringe, over the top,
Yep.
brutality. But then, because again, then all of a sudden they come back to life. I'm like, well, what have they been doing? Have they been sitting still for 5 years? And yeah. So,
Waiting.
and then I'm glad they brought back Sienna because it is her story. She was a much better actress in the first. I will admit, I always hated her brother in the first one, Jonathan. He just, I don't know if it's the actor or just the way he wrote it, just the way he talked, just annoyed the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then obviously now she's living with her aunt and uncle, but it's like she's been 5 years in basically a psychiatric ward, and he's just been trying to live his life. I'm like, why aren't they both going there? Like, I don't know. Oh, I will say, the one thing I did laugh at, and I shouldn't have laughed at, besides that, is obviously art. well, two parts because it's going to lead. He was so excited to see Santa Claus. Like you felt there's actually
Like, oh, that was
you knew
coming.
the end what was going to happen sooner or later. Like you knew it wasn't
Yes.
going to end well, but at the time you're like, oh, he wants me, and it goes crazy. And then when he's giving all the presents to the kids and he gets kicked out, and I'm like, and then the kid opens up a fucking bomb. I don't
I
know
mean,
why.
I respected. I respected that they went there because I was like, "How is this gonna end up in the murder of more children?" And then it did, and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, cool. Like that's you keep upping the ante. That's fine. Yeah, I just yeah, wild, fucking wild.
So I'm gonna skip to the end because I don't want to. There's no real need to pick this apart. People who watch Terrifier, but there is something I really found. So yes, obviously they're killing her family members one apart. It's basically they're trying to break Sienna, blah blah blah, and her niece or her cousin, excuse me, which is weird. But all right, so they kind of she defeats. And again, I say defeat. No, Art. She gets the sword. Her hands are brutalized. Art and the demon witch, whatever, and then like the floor opens up and her cousin's hanging there. So I'm going
Yeah.
right to the end. This
Mhm.
part makes no sense. Now there's going to be two parts that make no sense. So obviously her hands got bashed in with freaking mallets, and she's trying to
Yeah.
pull her cousin up. Like here, grab this, and she gives her the handle of the sword, and she's holding the blade.
Yeah.
What part of this was smart? So I'm sorry,
No, it
dude.
wasn't.
Listen to me. If you're down on the edge and all I have is a sword, I know I'm not going to be able to hold the blade and get you up. I'm gonna like let's. I'm like either you're fucked or I'm going to go find
Yeah.
something else. And then yes, obviously she can't hold on to the blade because guess what? It's fucking sharp. Like I that line of thinking to me was so stupid. But then afterwards, somehow she heals. Like she heals. I'm like, what the
Oh,
fuck is
she
all?
does.
Like her
Because
hands are all
she's
of a
like
sudden better.
a chosen one or something.
I
That was
don't.
like part of like the lore that was kind of talked about, like that there's like a sort of a good entity to go against these bad entities or whatever and stuff like that. I just think that they just wrote that plot in there so that they could give her cousin the sword for Terrifier 4. So like her cousin in whatever alternate dimension she's living in, she has at least a weapon to fight with because I'm
Mhm.
sure that will come back
Oh, of course.
in the lore. But like, yeah, you're right. It's stupid.
Well, again, going back to Terrifier 2, I want to know more. If there's anything, this whole why did the father know about? Because remember, he drew, if I remember correctly, like Art the Clown. He drew Sienna in those wings. He knew the
Yeah,
future. But they never fully explained it. He had all these drawings.
they
And
sure
then,
didn't.
yeah, so there's a brief. I'm like, okay, now we're going to get more of it. And yes, he draws the female heroine, which is basically her older, and then I guess that and that was it. And so I know
That was it.
that's going to come into play. Terrified, like it's a, I don't know. I just want a little more explanation. And whatever. I mean, we've watched plenty of horror movies. You don't have to give us much. Friday 13th. I know you watched the second one. We've been talking about that. That's absurd. And then obviously Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, if you remember the original thing, he basically killed the kids, but they never showed it, and they burned him, and that was the back. And then he was just getting even. So again, it doesn't matter what the reasoning it is. Just give me a little something. And because yeah, I'm watching these kills, and like it is survival. Like again, the mice going down, and then they slice the stomach to get
No.
the mice. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen for. I don't care. I hope it. He says it's the last one, which we've heard that on plenty of. But at least that
Should
gives me
be, but
hopes.
yeah, I mean,
If they at least
right.
complete the story, then like whatever, 10 years by now. Oh, he's back. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more in this movie that wasn't Terrifier 2. Brutal kills, a lot of blood, shocking, cringe. It's not for me. There again, every Terrifier I had a look away. I'm like, oh my god, and I'm shocked. Like I think there's a time I had my head in my hands, and because I watched this on my laptop. I would not let my wife suffer through these movies. I'm like, I gotta watch this in my own room. Like I have my little private
Well,
area.
thankfully, my wife was at work because I was like, I don't want anybody to see this shit.
Yeah, no, I'm like, all right. And I think I was just sitting at my desk and I'm just staring in disbelief. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't, again, I know there's been movies, I remember the Hostel films, which were very, and I'm like, that doesn't even compare to this anymore. I mean, I don't even know. I've never seen something that's been this brutal as a franchise, and but I don't go looking for them. And the only reason we did this is like, oh, Art the Clown, this is the new face of horror. People love this. They say he's iconic,
Mm-hmm.
and I get it. The look is iconic, and he,
Sure.
whatever. I don't. He's got that status, but I wouldn't put him up there with some of the more greats just because those films. I don't know. And again, maybe that's just me being old. Maybe I'm not with the times. But I'll tell you, I did ask my daughter one time, like, "Hey, have you ever seen the Terrifier films?" And her answer was just like, "F no." She didn't bleep it. I bleeped it for her, but she's not into them. But I'm like, don't, just don't then, because I wanted to know. I wanted to find some like younger generation because maybe this is just the way it is. But you're right. This is just his style. This is definitely just a niche audience, and I'm not it. But like you,
Yeah.
when Terrifier 4 comes out, I
Not it.
won't. I won't. Maybe we will go to theaters. Like, let's just finish this strong. But that's for a future time. So Soto, I gotta ask you.
Yeah.
Where in all the rankings of your movies, blah blah blah. Where exactly
Mm-hmm.
are you putting Terrifier 3 on your list?
So I said with Terrifier 2 that the director, I think his name is Damien Leone,
Yeah.
that I was like, I get it. Like, you have your own vibe, everything like that. Like, I get what you're trying to do. That's why I ranked it as high as I did. I think it's in my top 20. Because I like the vibe shift from 1 to 2. Yes, there were horrifying kills in 2, but with 2, at least there was, it was such a leap from quality. Because Terrifier 1, the dialogue is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And it is unwatchable and terrible and gross. And Art the Clown steals the show. And you're right, he's more human and whatever. But I felt like Terrifier 2 took it to a whole new level of quality. It's got this, like, I don't know, is it like 16 millimeter kind of vibe to it? So it does look like an 80s movie, which I appreciate. Except done, and I mean, it's masterful way of just creating these things with violent, like these images of violence. It's well done. As a movie, this movie fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Like, as a movie, like, I don't want to watch this movie ever again. I don't have any interest in watching this movie. If this is your movie, cool, great, more for you. I have not experienced life experience that people who love this movie like, so great. If you are a horror movie and, like, I just read somebody be like, this is a horror movie masterpiece, cool. Go fuck yourself. It's not for me. So it's just not. Like, we'll never hang out, and that's fine. I don't have to hang out with everybody. In fact, I hate most people. But to be quite honest, this is one of the worst movies that I've seen. I have zero interest in watching this movie again. I will never recommend this movie to anybody. Like, this movie just sucks. It's not boring though. A lot of bad movies are boring. And yeah, so it's gonna go low. I don't think it's the lowest because I've seen some shit, but it's gonna go lower than you would think. And
Because I will tell
I
you
mean,
while
well,
you're
maybe
thinking, you
five.
have Terrifier 2 at 18.
Yeah, no, I know,
I
I
know.
know. And
I
this
was
one's
just
gonna
kind of
be,
bringing that up while you're thinking, because I know.
as far as movies go, because I see a lot of, and I have to redo this, but
I'm always redoing it.
I have to redo this. But to be quite honest with you, I mean, I can't put all these movies in front of it, um, because I get what it was doing, but oh man, this movie's gonna have to be like, I feel like I quite honestly feel like 41 is a good place to put this movie for me
So
right now.
right underneath Devil Wears Prada. That's kind of.
Yep. That feels, because again, I'm not saying that this is a poorly made film by any stretch of the imagination. It has no plot. That's fine. If you're a fan of Terrifier, you're really not watching for the plot. You're just watching to see what Art the Clown does. But it didn't have an impact for me as much as Terrifier 2 did. I think that it just kind of went above me on to go there, and that's fine. You got to please your audience, but Not for me. This is not a movie that is for me at all.
So I will tell you this, looking at my list, and I've already kind of put this in. This was kind of a gut check because I had to fix my chat GPT. Because once you get a lot of, I use it for screenshots and it keeps erasing. So I had the first Terrifier at 21. Okay. That's
Mhm.
where that, and I had Terrifier 2 right now. It still sits at 13. And I've
Mhm.
kind of reworked my top 20. And so I still feel confident where that is. Like you said, this was leaps better. And like I said, I think I wanted more, and I was more favorable, or maybe I have to rework my 30s. Um, I did not go as low as you. I mean, it definitely was lower than the first one. Right now, I'll be honest, I had it at number 30. That's kind of where I sat it because there's a lot of movies in that area where it's like, all right, I see it. I don't know. And again, I might have to rework it at the more because I look at we talked about Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm like, I wanted to love that, and I didn't. And I'm
Right.
sorry, that might give me some hate. Um, so right now, for me, it's sitting at 30. Because like I said, like I said, I get what he's doing. I'm still intrigued. The fact that we want to see four, I think that just tells you something. I just want it to give me a little bit more because I think I even said with Terrifier 2, if it kind of gave me more back lore, that could have been a top 10 film. But I think we were also
Mhm.
looking at how much it improved over the first one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think I'm like, so now I'm thinking like, well, is that the case? Because the first one, yeah, because it was bad dialogue, the kills. I think they put us in the initial shock. Um, yeah, kills, and there's going to be things in here that are memorable for the wrong reasons. But
Yes.
you're right. I won't see. I'm not going to see any of these again. Um, but again, I think the 2 and 3 are lucky to have that actress, the main actress, Sienna. And I think she's, and obviously, yes, Art the Clown, he's iconic, blah, blah, blah. Um, I don't know. I've heard jokes that 4 may take place in space. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I, uh,
I can't imagine that it would. I mean, it has to take place
well,
in
somehow,
at least
yeah.
in like in some sort of other realm.
Oh, correct.
Have
There's
to
gonna
save this poor girl.
she's basically gonna go to hell. Somehow. I don't know. But either way, like you said, we'll eventually see
Space?
4. I don't know.
How the fuck are you gonna get in space?
I don't know how true that is. Okay, mind you, this is before they even started filming, and I don't know. Again, I just read that somewhere. Maybe it was just a fan fiction or a fan theory. I just read that it had nothing to do from that. I don't know. Honestly, let me ask you this question, and before we move on. So after we're watching the first Terrifiers, if we knew nothing of Terrifier 3, would you expect Terrifier 3 to be kind of considered a Christmas movie? Like, did you think that was the
Well,
route they're going to go?
no, I did not think that. I did not think that. I do think it is a Christmas movie, but this is a debate for another time of what defines a Christmas movie. But no, I didn't think it was gonna be a Christmas movie. No, but it is definitely a Christmas movie. There's no doubt about it. For better or for worse, this is a 100% Christmas movie. It takes place completely in Christmas.
Yeah, it just doesn't make you feel good though. There's no family values.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't need to.
No,
The
that's
fact is,
that's my
like,
definition of Christmas
there is
movie. Let me be happy.
literally Christmas happening. Like, you know what my definition of a Christmas movie is? Is there Christmas in the movie? Is Christmas happening in the movie? Like, that is usually enough for it to be like, can this be a Christmas movie? So, but that again, that is a discussion for maybe the holidays on a random Saturday, being like, what makes a holiday movie? Because I know we still have that diehard argument that we have to recreate. So,
No
what
recreation.
makes a
No recreation. But Soto, I did watch the second movie, and I actually watched this movie before I watched Terrifier 3. I think one night
yeah,
I was just trying to figure out what to watch. I know I've brought this up. We talked about watching part 2 of it, but then we looked and it was almost 3 hours long. And even Jill pulled us. She quoted what Soto would say. I talking third person here, but like it's in 2 parts. Why is this movie fucking 3 hours? So we're like, because it kind of was
lots.
like, and then I actually thought about putting Terrifier 3 in. I'm like, God, I don't want to subject to her to this. So I'm just trying to find something. And
No,
I
you
because
love your wife.
I do. And I was on Prime, and actually, I saw this thumbnail a couple days before, and me and friend kind of he asked me if I saw it yet that morning, and when I saw it, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna put this on. So I actually watched a documentary. So I know we're in the season. So this is by far the non. This is not a spooky movie. This is actually a very happy movie. I guess depends if
Like that.
you're our age group, because kids these days, as we like to see, do not really know who he is for the most part, or won't have the nostalgic feeling we have. But I saw John
Right.
Candy, I Like Me, and
Nice.
basically, yeah, I didn't know what to
I
expect
like.
going in. I knew it was probably going to be a lot of history. It was actually it was directed by Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son. John
Mhm.
Candy's son does a lot of the narration, but they get a lot of people talking in this from just Tom Hanks. Even Bill. It starts off with Bill Murray. He's telling a story in the documentary. He's like, you know what? I have nothing bad to say about. He's like, I wish I had some dirt or something bad to say about him. And then he gives like a funny joke or a funny story. He's like, that's about the worst thing I can ever say about John Candy. This documentary is great. Again, if you're a fan of his, if you know who he is and what he meant to the movie industry in that time in the comedies. And I think that's why this resonates a little bit more again with our age group. It was fun seeing how he got into the business. And obviously kind of re-seeing a lot of the movies he did, quick scenes, planes, trains, and automobiles. Space. I don't need to go through the whole list. But it was very interesting, his lifestyle, because I found out, I never really thought about it. He was born the same year my dad was born, 1950. I don't know why I thought he might have been older, but that kind of put things in perspective to me. But it starts off on his fifth birthday, right before his fifth birthday. His dad, who was 35 years old, died of a massive heart attack. And that's kind of like the underlying thing, because he, in a weird way, though he wasn't the oldest, kind of grew up being the caretaker of the family, his mom and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So that was very heart wrenching, and but that's also a lot of his story of why he did a lot of things. Just never really took care of himself that well. Because he was
Right.
obviously, again, we've heard a lot of these comedians from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Actors. The drinking, the smoking, and this and that. He never did drugs. That was never actually brought up. But he was always doing that, not eating healthy. And part of that was part of Hollywood wanted him fat, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
He actually
That was
lost.
his brand.
Yeah, there's a time when he was kind of away from Hollywood doing other things real quick, because he owned like a he also owned a football team, like a CFL team, a Canadian Football League team. He
Mhm.
lost. He was on a talk show saying he lost 70 pounds, and you can actually see it during. I don't know if it was like Leno or Letterman, and then his son was just saying, but then he wasn't getting those scripts in Hollywood. So it's kind of sad,
Wow.
because you always hear, again, Hollywood, gotta stay fit, gotta be, the pretty one, this and that, and yeah, that's what they wanted John Candy. But what was kind of great about this is just everyone, and obviously they wouldn't put it, but it was just like how likable he was. He always wanted to help people. He always wanted to make people laugh. He always stayed a little extra to sign whatever autographs just for fans, tell stories. He he made you care. You believe that he cared about you, because you get into
Mhm.
conversations you would think with some celebrities, and they might just be mindless chit chat, whatever. But he actually had interest in a lot of people. But yeah, there's not. I will say so. There's not much to it. It was enjoyable. Again, this is a typical documentary. You learn a little bit of John Candy's life, and that's about it. But there was
Mhm.
nothing more. But yeah, then obviously, and I forgot how long ago we passed. For some reason, it felt like he only passed like 10 years ago, 10, 15, like more recent than what it was. It was like 94. When I saw that, I'm like, God, it wasn't really that long ago, 30 years ago that he passed away. So, no, you know what?
1994 was a long time ago. Is
Yeah,
that what you said?
yeah, it was.
1994 was a fucking long time ago,
I
dude.
know, but like I said, if you would have asked me before this, like, hey, when did John Candy pass? I probably would have said, what, 10, 15 years ago? Like, not thinking. Like, it just, for some reason, still felt, and I say recent, but you know what I mean? Like, within the
Yeah.
2000s, I didn't really overthink it. It was just like, my God, yeah, it's been a long time. Uh, but I will say so, I mean, as entertaining it was to see, again, relive a lot of the movies he did, how he got into, What was that? The Canadian show that was kind of like SNL, SCTV,
Yes.
stuff like all that stuff.
You-
How he got into improv, why he wanted to do that,
Mhm.
basically how he thought he wasn't even good enough to be there because he wanted to create basically what Chicago's I can't think of the improv group that's there. It's kind of well known. A lot of them go there, but in Toronto in that area, and he helped it, and he brought a lot of friends. Like when he had his first film, some of his friends from SCTV just to do small parts. So he was always looking out for everyone else. So, you know what? I will say this. If you are a John Candy fan, you should see this. It was good. It's just it was pretty much what a basic documentary should be. I learned a little bit about his life that I didn't know, but it was fun reliving his movies. But overall, like as a movie and documentary, it was fine. I mean, it made me miss John Candy, especially with Spaceballs 2 coming out. Um,
Yeah.
so I wish I had more to say. But those who know his career knows what he meant. And we a lot of us again our age group laugh, but again I think about my daughter who probably wouldn't know who he is for the most part. Maybe Spaceballs, and that's about it. Um, so yeah, I
It's
liked
classic shit though.
it
Such
is.
classic
Oh,
movies.
it
Great
is classic.
Outdoors,
And
Uncle Buck.
correct.
You know.
And that was but all the people who came to talk, like even Macaulay Culkin, um, and John
Yeah.
Hughes, how many films he did. So yeah, there obviously yes, Uncle Buck, and how he
Planes,
got his
Trains, and Automobiles.
yep,
Yeah.
and how he could only do Home Alone, or, yeah, Home Alone, and like he only had one day, like he had 24 hours, for that role because he was just kind of passing by, and he did it just as a favor because he knew the Chris Columbus and kind of again through John Hughes. So again, I think he overly stressed himself out because he was doing all these things from the CFL, and I think that's
Yeah.
just unfortunate what got him in the end because he just the big thing they talked about at the end was, which wasn't talked about much in the late 80s and 90s as it is now, was the anxiety. I think he was learning about that the last year of his life and kind of learning what it was about. Because if you really think about that time period, that wasn't really, that panic attacks wasn't that talked about. Panic attacks
No, of
might have
course
been
not.
known,
It's the
but
90s, dude.
correct. Even the 80s. Um,
It's even recent to now. I mean, it's like people have. There was no fucking internet.
no, there wasn't.
It's like the internet has like made all the. Now it's like we're in a place where people talk about this stuff a lot more. I mean, fuck, dude. I was just talking to my niece yesterday, and she was like, "We're not allowed to say in school that I don't know. We have to say I don't know yet." And I'm like, "What the fuck? I didn't have this positivity when I was growing up.
No.
Like that's a positive mindset for a child to have." Because she was like, "We're not allowed to say I don't know. We can only say I don't know yet." And I'm like, "That is fucking crazy." And there's another guy I follow who's really funny. He's a comedian, but he's a janitor at a school, and he starts off his day and it's like there's a mirror that has like all these positive affirmations of being like I'm enough, like I'm good enough, and I'm like, we didn't have any of this. We needed it. Nobody knew that there was anything as like mental fucking health. That was never a
Nope.
fucking thing when we were growing up. No fucking mental health. It's like nope, just get over it. That was like our whole
Yeah,
thing.
no, that exactly as sad as it is, but that was basically it. Um, but
Stop
yeah,
being a
that
bitch. Stop. It's like oh my god.
I'll give you something to cry about. No, I mean, again,
Oh
you're
yeah.
correct. But that was kind of the last year. I think and it just makes it sad because like if he would have known that earlier, because again, he just wanted to be loved by everyone, and so
Yeah.
when one of his movies bombed, because he had a good start, then he had those strings of very questionable films. Like I think,
Of
remember,
course.
and I kind of vaguely, Harry Crumb and stuff like that, and it happens. But yeah, again,
Never stopped Adam Sandler.
no, it hasn't. But different times now. Because
Adam Sandler just
well,
keeps
kind of
on
go on.
going.
You have subscription services that can help. Back then, it was pretty much if you're not in theaters, it's direct to video. That two ways to make your
Yeah.
money, and then you sell it to like
And that
HBO
was
or
a
something.
death sentence.
Yeah,
That was a
now
death. Being direct to video was the worst you could be.
yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Because you're like, oh, this is basically shit. It's not even good enough. Now it's like, yeah, fuck the theaters. We're gonna skip it. Go straight to Netflix. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, for the as ranking goes, I will say this is pretty much middle of the road. I did put it at number 40. It was enjoyable. If it's on in the background, I would watch it again, but, I knew his career. But again, it just didn't feel like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say, it's hard to rank documentaries sometimes because it's more information, it's a different kind of enjoyment. Um,
Right.
but I just felt like, you know what, I do like John Candy. This helped. Again, being film guys, I think this is something you would enjoy knowing him. But for the, at the end of the day, this is basically as cut and dry as a documentary can be. We got a little history of him. His friends talked about him. They kind of went over movies. So is that, was I mad about it? No, of course not. Like I said, it's John Candy. I fucking laugh at so many of his movies, even the bad ones. Um, yeah, because I
Hmm.
think going back to things, I think he was directing, what was it called? Wagons East. It was his last film. And yeah, that was unfortunately a bomb, but I think he passed away right after that. And he was so stressed out from how that whole shooting schedule was going. But again, he was trying to make everyone happy. And that's just the
And
one thing I can say. Again, I mean, maybe they're putting on a front, but everyone, he just said, he was the nicest guy in Hollywood. He would give you the shirt off. He would help you, just if you needed anything. And I don't know. Like I said, it was good, but that's pretty much it. It was just pretty much a basic documentary. But yeah, so when this is all over, it's free on Prime. And it just came out. This came out like October 10th. So this is like the newest of the new for me. No,
wow,
so
look at you.
yeah, we got some 2025 films going on in here. We got some on our list. So, but
We
again,
did. We
I wanted to be happy, and I know I've been doing a lot of horror, and I knew Terrifier 3 was in my future. I'm like, let me just enjoy. Just sit back, hour and a
us.
half, and just enjoy something. And I think that's what got me in the mood. I'm like, I don't care. It's not spooky season for me at this moment. It's all about John Candy. So, and I'll leave it at
Smart
that.
move. I like that. You were doing some mental care. I did not do that, but
No,
yes, you were involved in mental care, and that's good.
well, let's talk about your second movie because by the looks of what I saw in the thumbnail, you kind of stayed within spooky season, and I actually never even heard of this. What made
Really?
you? Well, I think I saw looking up. This came out what 2012, 2013.
Yes.
Yeah. So
2012.
right, I
Ethan
was
Hawke.
at Blockbuster, but this was the dying days of Blockbuster anymore. So no, I've
Yeah.
never heard of this. But what made you decide to watch this? And tell me a little about this.
I think I saw like a TikTok. All my movies start like this these days. Because I'll see a TikTok. Obviously, my algorithm is based towards movies because I watch a lot of movies. And I'd seen something that said like scariest movies or something like that or whatever. And this movie came up as, I guess, one of the low key scary movies of all time, which I'd never heard of. This movie is called Sinister,
Sinister.
starring Ethan Hawke. And the story revolves around a true crime author. He moves into this house with his family. So many movies start off this way. Move
Mm-hmm.
into a new house, his family, and then all of a sudden shit gets fucked up. So he moves into a house with his kids and his family, and he's moving in, and he's hit a wall. He had a really good hit with his first novel, and his subsequent three or four other novels or whatever have not been great. And so he's kind of trying to recapture like the first like how he got famous. And so, a murder had happened in this town, so he moved there. He typically moves around, I guess, to kind of be in the environment of where the murder happened. What he doesn't tell his family, though,
Ooh.
is that he's moved into the house where this murder occurred. The movie starts off with with the murder itself, and this kind of like Super 8 kind of a vibe where there's a family of four. They all have like sacks over their head, and they're being hung from a tree, and you just kind of watch them all hang until they die from a tree. So it starts off like pretty fucking spooky, and he finds a box of Super 8 films up in the attic. And as he goes into his little room to start doing research, he starts seeing like Family Barbecue, like 98, or, Pool Party, whatever. And he starts opening these things up. And what he starts finding is that these are films where like these different families will be filmed having a good time, and then all of a sudden it switches to them being murdered, like different families. And he's like just drinking, watching these kind of like snuff films, right? Like there's one family, it's all gets drowned in a pool, and there's another family that gets burned alive inside of a car. And he starts kind of uncovering these things, and he's like, what? He gets deeper and deeper, and you don't really kind of know if he's losing his mind or if these kind of supernatural things are happening in the house. And it's actually done really well by Ethan Hawke. Um, I haven't seen a lot of Ethan Hawke horror movies, to be quite honest. I know he's in another one called Black Phone or something
I'm
that looks like
interested
a
in
horror.
that one. That because the
You know,
black
I
one
haven't
too. We'll
that
talk
one.
about.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, and probably won't get to it. But I was just intrigued, and so I was like, okay. But it was more sort of spooky, kind of like the vibe of it was pretty good. Although I will say, I don't understand why they never turned the lights on in this house, even during the day. But as the story unfolds and it gets worse and worse, it gets creepier and creepier, it gets really, really good. I was enjoying this movie for probably three-fourths of the way. And then in the third act, it really kind of fell off the rails for me. And I won't spoil it or anything like that. It just, we've talked about
Oh
this with a few different movies this year, I could say this year,
yes,
where it's like, things kind of like you get into this point where you're like, oh my God, this is a really good setup. I wonder where it's going to go. This is getting good. I like where it's going. And then it just kind of doesn't land, right?
yeah,
And I felt that this kind of movie went more into, it started leaning way more into the supernatural. And then it kind of went more into the jump scare stuff towards the end. And I mean, it just kind of, I felt underwhelmed at the end. And again, and then there's twists, which like
what a twist!
I don't know,
I know.
twists or whatever, but they're a really easy way to try to like make your movie be like kind of edgy and talked about. And I know there's a sequel to this movie because I accidentally started the sequel thinking it was this first one, and then I was like, wait a second, Sinister 2? I was like, oh shit, I haven't seen Sinister 1 because I thought Sinister 1 was on Netflix, so I pressed play on Sinister 2, and I was like, ooh, this is starting off really scary. I like this. And then it found out it was Sinister 2, and I was like, oh shit, I had to stop it. And then desperately I had to look up, I'm like, wait, is Sinister 1 anywhere? And of course, Sinister is on Tubi. And so
It is.
I watched Sinister on Tubi with the commercials, but it was fine. Again, I thought Ethan Hawke did a great job in this movie. I think he was the best part about this movie, quite honestly. The plot just kind of devolved into this kind of Bloomhouse bullshit, and it kind of. I know it's got its fans, but again, very great moody sort of horror movie that just kind of fell apart into some really cliche nonsense towards the end, and it was just kind of unfortunate because it started off really well and I was with it for most of the time. I would recommend it to anybody who's in these kind of creepy movies. I think they were just kind of trying to establish like a franchise horror bad guy, which you know how important that is.
Mm.
And I think establishing a horror franchise guy was kind of what it. So everything else took a backseat to that, and it kind of ended that way. And so that was kind of disappointing for me. Not a bad movie by any means. I did enjoy it up to a part. I don't think I'll ever see it again. I probably won't. But if you're in the mood for something spooky, and it's certainly the Halloween season, and you're looking for something that's decent on Tubi, I'd give Sinister a shot. Just don't go in there with any expectations that your mind is going to be blown, that you're going to see something that's the scariest thing you've ever seen. And if I ever see anything like that show up on my TikTok again, I'm going to be like, this is a lie. This is a lie. This movie's not that scary at the end, and it's kind of dumb. There's even actually like a thrown in jump scare in the last frame of the movie.
Oh
Uh,
no.
that just kind of like, I'm like, no, no. So,
You're like, no.
uh, nah, no, it's fine. I needed to watch a second movie, and so I did. And so where do I rank this movie?
That is ultimately the
Yeah.
question. which
Damn.
is, by the way, our 170th movie of the year.
I mean, to me, this movie is number 40. I'm not going to think too hard about it. It's not bad, and it had some potential, but right now it's going to go number 40. That's where this is going to go. Sinister. It's fine. It's one of the better horror movies I've seen, but I wouldn't say it was mind blowing or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. So, is it better than Insidious Chapter 2? I mean, I thought so. So, and this list might change, but for right now, I feel like Sinister is it's a 40. It's a at this point middle of the road,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, you've seen a lot worse this year, so
especially on Tubi.
yeah.
I've seen 86 films this year, and yeah, we're at that point, Chad, that we talked about, where we would look at this list and be like,
What the
"What?
fuck? What the fuck?
What? What do I even put this?" Like, it gets really hard,
I know.
uh, really hard, and that's why I have to like redo this whole thing because I have to really kind of think of like, is it better than this? And then do that whole thing. But for for the episode, that's where it's gonna go. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, Soto. That's gonna do it for episode 36. We only have 3 movies because
Hooray!
luckily we watched the same one. So I have a question
We
for
did.
you. You know,
Sure.
so let me. I wanted to ask a follow up for the last one before. So do you plan on seeing Sinister 2? Because I know this seemed to bode well with you. Number 40.
Sinister 2, the Sinistering.
Oh, is that honestly what it's called? This. Please tell me you're joking.
I am joking.
Thank God. I'm like,
Uh,
wait, that's not even a word. But you know what? I don't know nowadays. I've seen so many shitty
I
movies with
probably
combined
will.
words. All right.
I probably will since I started the first 30 seconds and I liked where it was going.
Mm.
Uh, I probably will. But like this weekend, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm more into watching. Like Weapons comes out on Friday on HBO, so tomorrow, and I kind of want to watch that. Still want to watch The Substance. I haven't gotten around to that, which is Demi Moore. Um, and so there's still things on my docket that I'm going to watch before I would watch The Sinistering. Sinister 2, The
Sinister.
Sinistering.
Sinister. I already can tell you what I'm going to watch because technically I watched half an hour of it earlier. I just knew I wasn't going to have time before this. I kind of got caught into it. So first of all, so to real quick, I was kind of looking through movies and
Mm-hmm.
just be like, okay, making a list because I know there's still a few. Like if I ever see them, they're not free, but and I was on Tubi, good old Tubi, and it popped up
Tubi.
that just got added that came out earlier this year that I've not been able to see that I'm very curious about. So I did watch the first 30
Okay.
minutes, but I will finish it. And it is The Season. And you might have a lot of questions once I tell you what this is, because I don't know if you know about this or not. Um,
Okay.
but first of all, Soto, I will say I am technically, or not technically, going to see another documentary. This one came out.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
wow.
hold on, because now let me tell you the title and let the questions begin. It's called George A. Romero's Resident Evil.
What?
So I don't want to
Huh?
spoil it too much
Wow.
before Paul W.S. Thomas Anderson. Yeah, I think I just combined two directors there.
Paul W.S. Anderson. Yeah, don't you dare.
I'm
Paul
sorry.
W.S. Anderson married to Mila Jovovich as well.
Yeah.
So,
So anyhow, before he made the 2002 Resident Evil or whenever that came out, someone else had the
crap.
rights, and Romero was set to direct it, and he even wrote a screenplay, but Capcom
Wow.
denied it. And so this is all I will say right now. This is a little right now. All I've got is, like I said, I'm not. It's a little history of how Romero became who he was, which we all know, and then now it's kind of introducing Resident Evil, the video, how it became this video game. So yes, he was set to direct in like 97, 98.
Mhm.
Resident. So this is going to talk to a lot of people that were involved in that project and what it might have looked like. So there is a lot of
Interesting.
intrigue because you know how much I love Resident Evil, and God, who doesn't love George Romero, the creator of what the zombie basically is.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is a documentary, but like I said, I'm very intrigued because I'm like, okay, I want to see how this would have worked out. and it was going to probably be better than any of the other live action movies. So yes, I am watching another documentary, but technically, in a way, it's two horror icons: one movie, one video game franchise, and I'm curious. So that will be talked about next week. I will tell you that right now. So,
Nice. Very
but I
nice.
don't know what else I want. So, all right, but yes, that will officially do it. So we are done. Um, we're in the middle, but 30, dude, 30 films left to go.
Nice.
30.
We got this. We
30.
got this.
I'm not worried. We'll
We
get
got
there. We're going to get there. I'm just saying, like, the end of the road is there. We're almost on that final turn. We're like the destination. We're starting to see the billboards 3 exits away. I don't know why I decided on 3 exits in that, but we're
I
almost
like
there.
that because that's usually when I'm like, "Yay, I'm almost home." We're almost home. Oh
We're
man, I can't wait. We're
almost
gonna sell.
home. Like I said, I have a notebook, and obviously it goes by list of 25. So each column's like 25. So I'm looking at the last column. It's getting ready. It's like, come on, start filling this in. We're almost there. But 30 films in about what? 9 weeks. 9, 10 weeks.
We got this. We got
Yeah, of
this.
course
We
we got
got
this.
this.
And so yes, we don't know. To those who are listening, again, comment whatever. If we haven't seen it and it's free, we'll watch it. I know we will talk about it when the time comes, but movie 200 will be, because I think we have to make that somewhat epic, or at least that's the one we have to watch this, be on the same page with or watch it. I don't know what it will be, because we already watched Terrifier 3. Dude, no more Art the Clown this year. That just
Thank
celebrate
God.
that. But have
I'm
a good
good.
one,
I'm good with.
and yeah, go watch some good movies.
I said play.